Hello and welcome to Inside Politics. My name is Anastasiya Lavrina. In a rapidly transforming Eurasian landscape, connectivity is no longer just about infrastructure. It's about strategy, sovereignty, and long-term alignment. On February 18, Baku hosted the international conference C6 One Region, Shared Future Enhancing Strategic Dialogue, organized by the Center for Analysis of International Relations. Formally, it was a gathering of think tanks. Strategically, it signaled something larger, the consolidation of a new regional configuration. To understand C6, we must recall C5, the original format uniting the 5 Central Asian states to strengthen internal coordination and collective engagement with global partners. C6 reflects an evolution. The inclusion of Azerbaijan formalized an emerging geopolitical reality. Central Asia's westward connectivity runs through the South Caucasus. Across the Caspian, Azerbaijan has become the critical link connecting the region to European markets. The Middle Corridor today is not merely a trade route, it's a resilient strategy in an era of geopolitical fragmentation. Within this broader framework, the Zangezur Corridor, increasingly referenced in strategic discussions as TRIP, the Trump route for international peace and prosperity, represents more than a bilateral issue between Azerbaijan and Armenia. It's viewed as a potential missing segment in a larger Eurasian connectivity chain. Is C6 the beginning of a structured Central Asia-Azerbaijan strategic axis? And can connectivity redefine political relationships in the region? To discuss this, we are joined now by Sheradil Bakhtagulov, political scientist and expert in public administration from Kyrgyzstan, who is now in the studio. Warm welcome to Inside Politics.
Good evening and thank you for inviting.
Thank you very much for your time. So let me start with this basic question. C5, it's a format, well-known format of coordinating the work between 5 countries in Central Asia. And now there is more talks about C6 format, which is also bringing Azerbaijan this field of integration. But we also know about the close ties between Azerbaijan with every single country in Central Asia and with Central Asia as it is. So does C6 represent a symbolic enlargement or the beginning of a structurally new geopolitical configuration in Eurasia?
I would say that Azerbaijan's accession to the C5 platform makes the spirit of cooperation within and among the Central Asian nations more stronger than ever before. And also in this regard, we can say that Azerbaijan accessions play a very, very crucial role because geographically, Azerbaijan belongs to the South Caucasian region and Central Asian countries in accordance to the UN geographical classifications represents another geographical region. But because of Azerbaijan and Central Asian countries now will cooperate within C6 platform, it means that Azerbaijan is building one region, macroeconomical region. And in this regard, we can say that really we are now evidences the shift into new geopolitical reality. And not just geopolitical reality, but also geo-economic reality. And it means that the ties between South Caucasian region and Central Asian region will be more stronger than ever before because of Azerbaijan's accessions to C6 platform. It means that Azerbaijan now is playing a little bit another role than before. Azerbaijan now kind of serve as stimul for really changing both regions, South Caucasian and Central Asian region. So in this regard, we can say, and also it came from our conference, I mean the slogan is really great one region and joint future. And it means that we are not divided ourselves into 2 different regions. Mm-hmm. We have one history which is much larger than the history of the Soviet Union or Tsarist Russia. And we have more ideas for cooperations. We have more ways for cooperation. And it happens because of the, I would say, wise leadership of the leaders of Azerbaijan and Central Asian nations.
Very interesting. And you already started to answer my next question about the conference, which was held in Baku on February 18. I mentioned this conference, and I will just repeat that the title was C6, One Region and Shared Future. It brought together the representatives of different think tanks from Central Asia, from 5 countries, and also Azerbaijan, under, I will say, one institutional format. So what were the key outcomes for you from this conference?
That's a great question, because this is the first event which happened ever. And of course, there is no clear agenda, I mean, established just to say that it should be done in this way or that way or another way. And it was just open forum discussions. What kind of sequences we could meet in future, what kind of problems should be solved, and of course, what kind of issues should serve as a baseline or as foundation for our shared futures. We do understand that we are different. We are not just now Turkic states, like within the organization of the Turkic state, because we have Tajikistan, which is not a Turkic state. But in spite of that, Azerbaijan treated all countries equal, without division like small economy or big economy, rich country or poor country, big territory or small territory, and so on. And this is very attractive, not just for Azerbaijan, but also for the other countries, because each of country within the C6 format feels itself in more comfortable way and in more adjustable way, because each voice is not just heard, but also counted and will be counted in the future. And I think personally this is the main, I would say, cornerstone for successful cooperation within the frames of a shared future. Because if there will be something like another new big brother or another kind of issues, there will be not so good consequences for all of us.
That's a very good point you raised here. I was also among the participants of that very important conference, and one of the participants, one of the speakers, I would say, raised a very good question, mentioning that our countries, we are, let's say, most of us are, we are the middle powers, and we cannot ignore the fact that the global powers, they had, some of them had, and some of them are willing to have more, let's say, involvement in the processes taking place here, especially after the countries are willing to spend more time and more attention being paid to the development of the regional transport links, integration processes, and etc. How do you think C6 countries should build their relationship and position themselves on the global arena to make sure that the external intervention doesn't disturb the balance we achieved in the region?
Well, I think it's widely well known that some great powers actually are our neighbors and close neighbors. We shared with them thousands of kilometers of joint borders. And some of the great countries, they could be located overseas, but their involvement and their impact into our economic and political lives really very significant, and they are playing still very significant role in our even the cultural affairs and our segment of humanitarian cooperations, via the, let's say, science, education, and so on. And we have to calculate their ambitions, but the fact is, we do know their own national interests, but within the platform C6, we are trying to protect our own national interests. We are not going to be a puppet in the hands of our, let's say, great powers, neighboring great powers. And in this regard, the platform C6 should and could serve as a foundation for our sovereignties, I mean sovereignties of our countries. And also it should provide the opportunity for our businesses and should provide opportunities for growing ourselves as significant players in the, let's say, international sphere. But it doesn't mean that we are trying or we are going to confront with the great powers. We are just like middle powers or not so middle powers. We are trying just to survive, to be more flexible within so high complex world right now. And in this regard, the C6 mechanism and the others mechanisms are not duplicated each other. Like, let's say, we are also, our countries also cooperating within the United Nations systems, within the United Nations institutions, within the organization of Turkic states and the other organizations. And in this regard, C6 mechanism is a platform of political dialogues between and among the leaders of Azerbaijan and Central Asian countries. And this role is quite significant nowadays, but during the conference we were thinking about the future of this platform, how it should be work more in order to bring more benefits to the peoples of our countries.
One of the key topics on the agenda now is the development of transport links infrastructure in the region. We cannot ignore the fact that the Middle Corridor itself attracts the global attention. That was the transport links in the South Caucasus and Central Asia was one of the key topics also on the agenda during the 62nd Munich conference, which took place just last week in Germany. Speaking about the global powers, we cannot ignore the existence of another format of cooperation, C5+1, with the United States. An official meeting was held last year in the United States, and now possible platform of C6+1 together with Azerbaijan. And the interests American administration paying to the development here in the region of new transport links. Now I'm talking about Zangezur Corridor, or mostly known also as the Trump Corridor now. The global attention is really high. So how do you see the perspectives of the developments of these links and the presence of the United States in the region?
That's a really great question. And I think we should notice the book by our American colleagues, Zbigniew Brzezinski, The Great Chess Game and the US Geostrategic Imperatives. And in this regard, in his book actually indicated that South Caucasus and Central Asia are the core element of Eurasian continent. So in this regard, I think the US will welcome such development situation in our regions. Some of global powers might be not so happy as the US politicians. But anyway, this is our new reality. And it's not, again, I would like just highlight it, we are not trying to build cliques or blocks against any country. It's mainly about cooperation among Azerbaijan and Central Asian countries. And in this regard, I would like to congratulate our Azerbaijani colleagues with success with the Zangezur corridor, because the trip, the Trump route, is the operational modality of Zangezur corridor. It consists a set of conditions, conditionalities, and requirements how the Zangezur corridor will be managed, used, and will open its doors to the Central Asian countries and to the South European countries. And in this regard, also we are welcome this situation. It doesn't matter it will be Trump route or whatever will be. Trump route is working today, and 50 years after it could be another route. But again, the most important thing is its operational modality. It allows to work and use Zangezur corridor. And in this regard, I think it's our joint opinion. Zangezur corridor is not just segment which united two parts of Azerbaijan, but it's also united Central Asian countries with the Southern European countries and the European countries with Central Asia. And this is really significant. This is really important because our Central Asian countries really are landlocked countries. And Azerbaijan even, not Azerbaijan, sorry, Uzbekistan included into the Guinness record book as double landlocked country. And so this Zangezur corridor or Trump route allows us to use new opportunity to expand our cooperation and be more open to the world.
Absolutely. You know, that's very interesting. At the same time, Zangezur corridor, you rightly mentioned, will connect Azerbaijan, the mainland of Azerbaijan, with Nakhchivan through the territory of the modern Armenia. That's a very good point for the future development of the peace agenda also in the region of the South Caucasus. At the same time, Zangezur corridor will not replace the other routes of the middle corridor, which is now still on the agenda through the territory of Georgia and Turkey. Azerbaijan already have a great experience of work with these countries. Connecting the China, Central Asia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, and further to Europe. Then a bit more about geopolitical implications of this, I would say, additional route to the global project and how it will affect the post-conflict reality in the region.
I think you provided answer already, because Zangezur corridor, it's not supplemented, it's diversified existing routes. And the volume of the global trade, I mean, those goods produced in China or Europe is really great one. And also there are some exact set of goods like, let's say, gadgets or cell phones and so on, which should be delivered to the consumers in the Europe as soon as possible. And with the land routes, this way much shorter than will be used, let's say, sea routes. And in this regard, Zangezur corridor diversified such kind of routes and provided new opportunities to the customers, let's say, in European countries, to get access to the newest and more fancy electronic gadgets than, let's say, there are such consumers in the Northern America, for instance. And this is win-win situation for all of us. It's not about competition with, let's say, the Northern Corridor or Southern Corridor. It's about diversification. And diversification is really good because the volumes of goods produced in China will be delivered much faster, much better, and more efficient into the final destination in somewhere in Europe. And in this regard, I think this is really a great sample how the invisible hand of market and visible hand of market will work together for, let's say, will not just work together, but also will benefit all participants of these transport and logistics corridors and services provided along the Zangezur corridor or middle corridor, whatever will be. But Zangezur corridor will be the most significant chain within the middle corridor. And also we should remember that there is not just middle corridor, we also have the Trans-Asia corridors, we have the SCO, Shanghai Cooperation Organization corridors, Euro-Asian corridors, and so on. They are existing, but they are not competing with each other. I think this is a really crucial point.
Well, as an observer, as a person who really deeply involved in all of those geopolitical processes in two regions, I will say, what else is needed from your perspective to foster the integration within C6 format? Middle corridor and economic cooperation, I guess that's on agenda, and all countries are willing to invest more to make sure the process is going faster and smoother. But how exactly you see the future coordination within this new format? What else needed?
I think my opinion will be quite subjective because, you know, during
absolutely, that's your opinion.
During our conferences, we also were trying to find a joint answer, what kind of future will be, and we didn't find the answer yet, but we are trying to find, and that's why we are going to meet each other again, and again. And it's not about just meeting, it's about finding the most significant and most optimal way from different alternatives, how it should work. And one of our directions is identified direction, is humanitarian cooperation and people-to-people cooperation. Because it's about building trust between and among peoples of our countries. And without the trust, we cannot build solid economic ties, And without people's trust, we cannot build even support even good political relations among our countries. So people to people will play quite a crucial and significant role in the future cooperation between and among Azerbaijan and Central Asian countries. As for the economical cooperation aspects, most likely one of prominent agendas will be working with the business councils, with trade partners along our countries as well. So there is really a very huge amount tasks should be done, should be executed, starting from, let's say, if we are trying to build good transport and logistical routes and corridors, later or sooner, we should take actions to provide security for them, for transportation of goods and our passengers. The opening opportunities.
Our, let's say, 6 countries will be able to manage all of the security aspects?
I think yes, because our security authorities, national security authorities, are providing security within their respective territories, within their respective countries, and the only issue is on the borders, because of smuggling, because there are always citizens of our own countries and also the citizens of the other countries who will try to use the weaknesses within the, let's say, customs procedures and whatever will be. So we should prevent it against smuggling. And in this regard also we could cooperate, and I think we will cooperate in this direction as well. And also another prominent aspect will be when the business opportunities will open. It will be new opportunities for citizens of our country to visit other countries as well, because Azerbaijan now is really miracle something. He has so many sightseeing sites, and I think more and more people are willing to visit Azerbaijan to see by their own eyes the development of Azerbaijan, the changes in Azerbaijan. And in this regard also the volume of tourists will be growing from year to year. And Azerbaijan is hosting, let's say, Formula One competition. And in our countries also so many fans of Formula One. Or let's say today will be game like Karabakh and Newcastle. We also have many fans of football who will come and will come to Baku or whatever city in Azerbaijan just to see how their fan clubs will play from, let's say, English Premier League or whatever it will. So we have so many opportunities to cooperate and to visit. We have so many things we can share with each other. So that's why the slogan is really great one. One region, one macro region, and shared future. And shared future, it's not just religious aspect. It's about how the ordinary people could work, cooperate, and interact with each other.
Absolutely. It's a very good point to conclude our today's episode, especially bringing the idea that before the countries also concentrate much on the common historical elements, the history, the tourism development, as you rightly mentioned, there is indeed a great potential among all countries in Central Asia and in the South Caucasus and Azerbaijan as well. So exactly now, if the countries are willing to unite the efforts to move forward together to the global future, to the development and intensification of coordination, indeed that will benefit. And as you rightly pointed out before, one of the key elements is that the voice of each and everyone within this structure is heard, it's counted, and it's a mutually beneficial cooperation. So let's see how the situation will be changed within the next months. But as for now, unfortunately, we are running out of time. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you very much. Well, connectivity is redefining the map of Eurasia, not only physically, but politically. What we are witnessing is a gradual consolidation of a new regional logic, cooperation based on shared interests, diversified partnerships, and pragmatic engagement. The dialogue launched in Baku under the C6 format signals that Central Asia and the South Caucasus are increasingly shaping their own strategic future. That's all we have for today's Inside Politics. I'm Anastasiya Lavrina, and I see you next time.